Hello and welcome to CVR News Network. You're watching CVR English and welcome to World 360 and I'm Sandeep. The Iran-Israel conflict continues to intensify as Israeli air strikes hit Tehran early Wednesday, causing significant damage to buildings across the capital. Reports indicate that multiple explosions rocked key locations, with visuals showing widespread destruction. The strikes come amid heightened tensions, with both nations exchanging missile attacks on the recent days. A video posted on social media became viral, showing smoke rising and an orange glow in the sky as aerial attacks by Israel and Iran entered the sixth day. Satellite images released by Maxar Technologies on June 17th revealed significant damage to Iranian military facilities following the Israeli air strikes, part of the largest Israeli air campaign ever launched on Iran. The before and after photos show destruction at missile and air bases targeted during the ongoing conflict. Israel says the operation was launched after it concluded Iran was close to developing a nuclear weapon. Tehran has denied the allegation and insisted nuclear program is solely for peaceful purposes under the guidelines of the International Non-Proliferation Treaty, which is NPT. In a dramatic escalation, Israel claims it has carried out deep air strikes inside Iran, targeting nuclear, ballistic, and command infrastructure. The Israeli Defense Forces say it's a part of their largest offensive yet, launched after intelligence indicated that Iran was close to developing a nuclear weapon. Iran, a signatory of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, denies seeking nuclear arms and insists its program is for peaceful purposes. Meanwhile, Israel, which is not a member of the NPT, has neither confirmed nor denied its nuclear arsenal. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to continue until Iran's nuclear threat is neutralized. While US President Donald Trump says Israel's offensive could end if Iran agrees to strict limits on uranium enrichment.
We are now on day 5 of Operation Rising Lion. We've struck deep, hitting Iran's nuclear, ballistic, and command capabilities. The Iranian regime has spent years getting closer to a nuclear weapon. They have spent billions building a ballistic missile program. Our mission is clear: to remove the threat at its source. We are aiming at military targets. They are attacking civilian homes. The IDF will continue to operate with precision, strength, and resolve to ensure the safety of the people of Israel. Israel faces threats on many fronts. While we are working to remove threats from Iran, we are still fighting their proxy, Hamas, in Gaza, who is still holding 53 of our hostages in brutal conditions. We will not rest until they are returned home. We are now on day 5 of Operation Rising Lion. We've struck deep, hitting Iran's nuclear, ballistic, and command capabilities. The Iranian regime has spent years getting closer to a nuclear weapon. They have spent billions building a ballistic missile program. Our mission is clear: to remove the threat at its source. We are aiming at military targets. They are attacking civilian homes. The IDF will continue to operate with precision, strength, and resolve to ensure the safety of the people of Israel. Israel faces threats on many fronts. While we are working to remove threats from Iran, we are still fighting their proxy, Hamas, in Gaza, who is still holding 53 of our hostages in brutal conditions. We will not rest until they are returned. We are now on day 5 of Operation Rising Lion. We've struck deep, hitting Iran's nuclear, ballistic, and command capabilities. The Iranian regime has spent years getting closer to a nuclear weapon. They have spent billions building a ballistic missile program. Our mission is clear: to remove the threat at its source. We are aiming at military targets. They are attacking civilian homes. The IDF will continue to operate with precision, strength, and resolve to ensure the safety of the people of Israel. Israel faces threats on many fronts. While we are working to remove threats from Iran, we are still fighting their proxy, Hamas, in Gaza, who is still holding 53 of our hostages in brutal conditions. We will not rest until they are returned home. We are now on day 5 of Operation Rising Lion. We've struck deep, hitting Iran's nuclear, ballistic, and command capabilities. The Iranian regime has spent years getting closer to a nuclear weapon. They have spent billions building a ballistic missile program. Our mission is clear: to remove the threat.
Iranian Defense Ministry spokesperson Reza Tlaibani said on Tuesday that Israel would be defeated in an interview on Iranian state television. The Zionist regime will become unstable over the time and will be disappointed with what it has been demanding, he said. Iran's Revolutionary Guard said they had hit Israel's military intelligence directorate and spy agency Mossad's operational center early on Tuesday. There was no Israeli confirmation of such attacks, however. Israel launched its air war with a surprise attack that has killed nearly the entire top echelon of Iran's military commanders and its leading nuclear scientists. It says it now has control of Iranian airspace and intends to escalate the campaign in coming days. Trump has consistently said the Israeli assault could end quickly if Iran agreed to US demands that it accept strict curbs on its nuclear program.
درون خودش آسیب پذیری‌های حوزه جنگ سخت رو داره به دشمن صهیونی طبق تجربه 75 سال گذشته و با توجه به دلایل گوناگون نظامی و غیر نظامی و ابعاد گوناگون به لحاظ استراتژیک امکان مقاومت و تاب‌آوری یک جنگ طولانی رو نداره و لذا این رژیم و این دشمن صهیونی در ادامه این جنگ تحمیلی زمینگیر خواهد شد. رژیم صهیونیستی به مرور زمان متزلزل و نسبت به اون چه که خواسته هاش بوده ناکام و مایوس خواهد شد. همین چند روز پیش بینی نمی‌کرد که در واقع سیستم فرماندهی ما فعال بشه. پیش بینی نمی‌کرد گفت من پایگاه موشکی رو زدم، پس این موشک‌ها از کجا داره شلیک میشه به سمت رژیم.
Israel Defense Minister Israel Katz has warned the Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei that he could suffer a fate similar to Saddam Hussein, Israeli media is reporting. The minister made his remarks during an assessment with the senior IDF generals this morning, according to the Times of Israel. He said that he warned the Iranian dictator against continuing to commit war crimes and launching missiles at Israeli civilians. He would do well to remember the fate of the dictator in the country neighboring Iran who chose the same path against the state of Israel, he said in reference to Saddam, who was overthrown in 2003 during the US invasion of Iraq. Saddam was later discovered hiding in a hole near a farmhouse. He was executed in 2006 after being found guilty of crimes against humanity.
וירי טילים לעבר אזרחי ישראל. כדאי שיזכור מה עלה בגורלו של הדיקטטור במדינה השכנה לאיראן שהלך בדרך הזאת נגד מדינת ישראל. אנחנו נמשיך גם היום לפעול נגד יעדי משטר ויעדים צבאיים בטהרן, כפי שעשינו אתמול מול רשות שידורי התעמולה וההסתה. אני קורא לתושבי טהרן להתפנות מאותם מקומות בהתאם להנחיות דובר צה"ל בפרסית לשם הגנתם. תושבי טהרן, אל תסכנו את עצמכם ואל תהיו בני ערובה בידי הדיקטטור שמשתמש בכם לצורך
Canadian PM Mark Carney hosted an afternoon G7 working session with global leaders, including those invited from non-G7 nations. Amid tensions over the war in Ukraine and the Iran-Israel conflict, Carney emphasized unity. We are all stronger together. US President Donald Trump departed early from the summit, citing urgent Middle East developments. His support for Russian President Vladimir Putin and new tariffs on allies added to internal G7 decisions. Canada plans to issue a chair statement pushing for more sanctions on Russia and backing US-led peace efforts.
And ways to find partners. Thank you for coming to Canada. Thank you for coming to this G7. Canada is your partner in all these aspects, and we're all stronger together. So.
Leaders of the G7 nations gathered for a symbolic family photo at the summit in Kananaskis, Canada on June 17th. But behind the smiles lie deep divisions. US President Donald Trump's open support for Vladimir Putin and his tough stance on allies. Tough new tariffs have left the group struggling for unity, especially on Ukraine and escalating Iran-Israel conflict. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, who holds the rotating G7 presidency, plans to issue a statement calling for stronger sanctions on Russia and renewed US-led peace efforts. While Canada is one of the Ukraine's most vocal supporters, its military capacity is limited compared to the US. Trump's early exit from the summit raised speculation about the possible ceasefire deal in the Middle East, though he later denied any such move was in the works. Leaders at the ongoing G7 summit in Canada met for the working breakfast session on June 17 to focus on Russia's war in Ukraine. Earlier in the morning, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said Ottawa would provide 2 billion Canadian dollars, equivalent to 1.47 billion US dollars, in new military assistance for Kyiv, as well as impose new financial sanctions. The G7 group of wealthy nations has struggled to find unity over the conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East, as Trump has expressed support for Russian President Vladimir Putin and has imposed tariffs on many of the allies present. When the summit ends later on Tuesday, Carney plans to issue a statement calling for more pressure on Russia through sanctions and saying the G7 backs US-led peace efforts.
Ukraine. With our international partners, we're launching a major new package of sanctions on individuals, on companies, on vessels, the Shadow Fleet, to exert maximum pressure on Russia. I stress Canada's readiness to work to create new international partnerships to promote a world that's more secure, prosperous, just, and free. We're looking to deepen alliances with stable democracies who share our interests, our values, our principles, and who look to lead. We look to lead with many of the resources, including human resources and human capital, that the world wants and the values to which so many aspire. And it's those values of freedom, of democracy, and of justice that are behind Canada's unwavering support for a secure, a free and sovereign Ukraine. And this morning I shared with President Zelensky and G7 partners what Canada is doing moving forward in multiple respects with measures to support Ukraine in its struggle in Russia's unjustified and barbaric war. With our international partners, we're launching a major new package of sanctions on individuals, on companies, on vessels, the Shadow Fleet, to exert maximum pressure on Russia. We're also sending over $2 billion in funding for drones, ammunition, armored vehicles to help Ukrainians defend their territory, as well as a $2.3 billion loan to help rebuild the infrastructure.
French President Emmanuel Macron, speaking on the sidelines of the G7 summit, strongly warned against using military means to change Iran's regime. Citing the disastrous outcomes of the interventions in Iraq and Libya, Macron called such strategies a path to chaos and urged renewed diplomacy to address Iran's nuclear and ballistic programs. He emphasized international supervision and ruled out any strikes targeting civilians or infrastructure. His comments come amid soaring regional tensions after Israel's strikes on Iran and global debate over Iran's nuclear ambitions.
Nous ne voulons pas un Iran qui se dote de l'arme nucléaire ou qui ait ses capacités balistiques. Mais je pense que la plus grande des erreurs aujourd'hui, c'est de chercher, par la voie militaire, à faire un changement de régime en Iran. Parce que ce sera là le chaos. Et donc la responsabilité qui est la nôtre, c'est de reprendre au plus vite des discussions pour permettre justement de redonner un cadre à la question nucléaire et à la question balistique. C'est constamment ce que la France fait depuis 10 ans. De manière constante, le président Trump, avec qui j'ai les meilleures relations du monde, et dans sa première mandat, et aujourd'hui, il a fait une chose, c'est qu'il essaie d'obtenir la paix. À chaque fois ce qu'il dit. Et je ne l'ai jamais vu se joindre à des opérations militaires. Donc je pense en effet qu'il essaie de mettre la pression dans cette situation. Donc, mais vous constatez comme moi qu'il y a sans doute eu un changement d'avis. Mais je ne suis pas responsable des changements d'avis de l'administration américaine. Est-ce que quelqu'un pense que ce qui a été fait en 2003 en Irak était une bonne idée? Est-ce que quelqu'un pense que ce qui a été fait en Libye la décennie précédente était une bonne idée? Non. Moi je pense aussi à nos amis de la région, en Irak, au Liban et ailleurs.
Pakistani journalist rakes up Kashmir mediation issue at the State Department briefing, gets embarrassed as State Department spokes. Tammy Bruce says Trump backs the country's decision to decide its own course of future.
Does President Trump needs Modi permission to bring peace in South Asia by resolving the Kashmir issue?
Well, yes, this is every country, as President Trump has stated, is a right to define its own future. He offers his help, and it's up to whoever he's offering it to whether or not they'll accept it. But I would not speak to the nature of another country's decision-making. That's up to them.
President Trump has once again recently offered to mediate on Kashmir, but the Modi government says that they don't need Trump's help. Does President Trump needs Modi permission to bring peace in South Asia by resolving the Kashmir issue?
Well, yes, this is every country, as President Trump has stated, is a right to define its own future. He offers his help, and it's up to whoever he's offering it to whether or not they'll accept it. We live in a fascinating, exciting time where we've got a man who can make the difference, and he's generous about making that difference. He could have chosen to have this term be about anything other than peace and making America great again. But he's stuck with that. He's committed to that. It is part of his overall commitment to the country. So I would not speak to the nature of another country's decision-making. That's up to them. But I think all of us are grateful that we have a president who's willing to.
Kenyan police fired tear gas at protests in Nairobi on Tuesday as demonstrations erupted following the death of a blogger in police custody, reigniting concerns over alleged extrajudicial killings by security forces. Clashes broke out in downtown Nairobi, with one man seen being beaten by demonstrators. He was struck multiple times and sticks and kicked in the head. In a separate incident, one man was shot dead by police and in another part of the city during the same protest. The circumstances of his death and his identity were not immediately clear. Kenya's police spokesperson, Mishori Nyaga, told he was unaware of the casualty. Protests were sparked by the death of Albert Ojwang, a 31-year-old teacher and blogger who died 2 days after his arrest earlier this month. Police initially claimed he has committed suicide, but an independent autopsy later indicated assault on the cause of death, prompting an apology from the Kenya's police chief. President William Ruto described Ojwang's death at the hands of the police as heartbreaking and unacceptable. A New York City mayoral candidate was arrested by federal agents at an immigration court on Tuesday as he attempted to shield a migrant who authorities were trying to detain. Brad Lander, 55, the city comptroller, was seen in a video footage linking arms with a man inside New York's main immigration courthouse in Lower Manhattan as law enforcement agents tried to make the man into custody. Lander could be heard asking the agents if they had warrant to carry out the arrest, saying, I will let you go when you show me the judicial warrant. Where is that? And where is the warrant? He asked.
Do you have a judicial warrant? Keep going. Do you have a judicial warrant? Can I see the judicial warrant? Can I see the warrant? I will let go when you show me the judicial warrant. Where is it? Where is the warrant? I have it in my hand here. You obstructed. You obstructed. I would like to see the warrant. Let go. Take it to see the warrant. Put him in custody. No. Take it back. Take it back. Take it back. Take it back. Step back. Step back. Step back. You don't have authority. You don't have authority to arrest U.S. citizens. Step back, sir. You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. Stay back. Step back. You don't have the, I'm not obstructing. I'm standing right here in the hallway. I asked to see the judicial warrant. By asking for a judicial warrant? You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens asking for a judicial warrant. Stay back, please. Stay back, please. Stay back. No, ma'am. For your own safety. For your own safety.
I'm safe. Can't believe you're arresting. Where are you taking him? Hello?
Since you have no authority to arrest U.S. citizens, where are you taking me? And with what authority?
I'd be embarrassed too. Why are you arresting?
And with what authority?
And where are you taking him?
Step back, guys. Step back, please.
But, I'm going to sleep in my bed tonight, safe with my family. I'm grateful to hear that the charges are not being brought, but if they are, I've got a lawyer. I don't have to worry about my due process rights. This is the third week in a row I've showed up, and the reason I started coming, we've got Murad Awadeh from New York Immigration Coalition here. I don't know, a few weeks ago I saw that as they started stripping people of status, as they started dismissing cases, religious leaders and observers who were here had been arrested and denied their right simply to sit and watch. And I said to my team, you put me back here every week as long as we can do this. And that's how I understand what the responsibility of being an elected official in New York City.
Levatobi Laki in Indonesia's East Nusa Tenggara province erupted on Tuesday, spewing a towering ash cloud of 11 kilometers high, the country's volcanology agency said. The local media agency also said it has raised the alert level of the volcano to the most dangerous, warning of the potential lava flows if it heavily rains. Levatobi Laki's last eruption was in May, when authorities also raised a level to the most severe.
Aduh. Gunung loh. Aduh.
Kesini lagi itu di ujung.
Masalah kayak umum belok kayak hal kayak hanya begini saja. So kanila rin na pagpunta dito pero sini direct kamu.
Yang pikir apa Pertamina? Naik banyak nih.
People arrive with their luggage at meeting point in Tel Aviv before the departure of buses set to evacuate foreign passport holders, mainly European and Polish, out of Israel. The operation, coordinated by the Polish embassy, aims to evacuate several hundred people who will board buses headed to Sinai in Egypt and from there continue to Warsaw, Poland.
צריך בטריה.
So if we're Polish running the way,
To jest nie Maryjka do
That's the end of the bulletin. Keep watching CVR News English.